Hello, welcome to Cursed Dose. Let's start asterisk. It wasn't the money that made me take the job, it was the silence in my life. After my father died, everything felt empty, the house, the days, even my own thoughts, so when I saw the listing online, night operator needed, remote desert radio station. No experience required, high. Pay, no questions asked. I didn't think. Twice, the location was strange, middle of nowhere, hours away from the nearest town, the kind of place you don't accidentally find. You have to be looking for it, or it has to be waiting for you. When I arrived, the sun was already setting, the desert stretched endlessly in every direction, no roads, no lights, no signs of life, just wind. And that station, it didn't look abandoned, but it didn't look alive either. Tall metal towers stood beside it, wires humming softly, like something breathing, watching, that single quotes, Hess. When I met him, the man I was replacing, he didn't greet me, didn't smile, didn't even ask my name. He just handed me a small notebook, worn out, edges burnt, like it had been through something. Then he said something. I'll never forget. You can leave now. Before it notices you. I laughed, thought he was joking, he didn't laugh back. Instead, he stepped closer and whispered, "It learns your voice first." Before I could ask anything, he was gone, just like that, no car, no footsteps, nothing, I stood there, alone, with a notebook in my hand, and the sun finally disappearing behind the dunes. I walked inside the station, the door locked behind me. I didn't touch it. That's when I felt it. I wasn't alone. The room was filled with equipment, old. Radios, screens, static noise filling the air, and in the center, a chair, waiting, for me, I sat down, slowly, carefully, and that's when the first transmission came in. A voice. Hello? Weak, distorted, double quotes. Can anyone hear me? I grabbed the mic instinctively. Yeah, I hear you. Silence. Then the voice changed. Good. Not scared anymore, happy, too happy. I pulled the mic away. Something felt wrong, very wrong. That's when I remembered the notebook. I opened it, hands slightly shaking. The first rule. Rule 1. Do not respond to any voice during the first hour. My stomach dropped. I slowly looked back at the radio, static, then a whisper, right behind me. You already did. I turned around, no one there, but the chair behind me was moving, slowly, like someone had just stood up from it. And that's when I realized the shift had started and I had already broken the first rule. Asterisk. The first hour felt longer than anything I had ever experienced in my life. Not because of what I could see, but because of what I couldn't. The station remained exactly the same, the same dim lights. Same constant hum of electricity, the same endless desert outside the glass. But something had changed, something I couldn't explain, It started with the silence, not normal silence. Not the kind you hear when everything is calm, This was different, This silence felt intentional, like something was holding its breath, waiting. I tried to distract myself, check the equipment, adjusted the frequency dials, pretended like everything was normal, like I hadn't just heard my own name whispered from behind me, like I hadn't already broken the first rule. That's when the second transmission came in, a sharp crack of static, then a voice. "You shouldn't have answered." I froze. It was my voice. Not similar. Not close. Exact. Same tone. Same breathing. Same hesitation. I slowly reached for the notebook again. Hands heavier this time. Rule 2. If you hear your own voice on the radio, do not listen for more than 10 seconds. Too late. The voice continued. It knows you now. It's learning. Don't look outside. My heart skipped. Don't look outside. I didn't want to. I really didn't. But something inside me, something stupid, something human, made me turn my head. The desert was still there. Endless. Dark. Empty. At least. That's what I thought. Until something moved. Far away. At first, I thought it was just the wind. Sand shifting. Shadows playing tricks. But then it moved again. This time, closer. Too fast. Like it wasn't walking. Like it was glitching. Appearing in places it shouldn't be. My chest tightened. I looked back at the radio. The voice was still there, now laughing. You looked. The lights flickered. Just once. But that was enough. Because in that single flicker, the thing outside was suddenly closer to the glass. Way closer. I hadn't seen it move. It was just there now. Tall. Unnaturally tall. Its body stretched in ways that didn't make sense. Limbs too long. Joints bending the wrong way. And its face? No, not a face, just a blank surface, like something unfinished. The radio crackled again. Don't let it see you. Notice? I forced myself to look away. My breathing was loud now. Too loud. I grabbed the notebook again. Desperate. Rule 3. If something appears outside the station, do not acknowledge it. It can only approach if you react. Too late for that, too, because I had already looked, and deep down, I knew it saw me. The glass behind me made a soft tapping sound. Once. Then again. Slow. Deliberate. Like something testing the barrier. I didn't turn. I couldn't. But the tapping didn't stop. It grew stronger. Louder. Closer. Then it stopped. Complete silence again. I thought it was over. I was wrong. Because this time, the sound came from inside. Right behind me. A breath. Cold. Close to my ear. You let me in. I turned. Nothing. But the chair behind me was no longer empty. It was slightly pulled back, like someone had been sitting there, watching me. For a long time I stumbled back toward the desk. Heart racing. The radio turned on by itself. No static this time. Just one clear sentence. You're not alone anymore. And that's when I understood something. Something that made everything worse. The rules weren't there to protect me. They were there to delay it. Because no matter what I did, no matter what I followed, it was always going to get in. Asterisk, I don't know. How much time passed after that? Minutes. Hours. Maybe. Both. The station no longer felt like a workplace. It felt like a trap. The walls seemed closer. The air thicker. Even the sound of my own breathing didn't feel like it belonged to me anymore. I stopped touching the radio. Stopped looking at the windows. Stopped thinking. Because thinking made it worse. But then the notebook changed. I swear to you, it changed. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't moved it. But when I looked down again, there were new pages, new writing, not my uncle's handwriting, mine. Rule 4. Do not trust a notebook after midnight. My hands went cold. I flipped back. Every rule, every word, had slowly started to shift, like something was rewriting it, adapting, learning, just. Like the voice said, it learns you, and that's when the final realization hit me. This wasn't a job, it was a process. Replacement. My uncle didn't disappear. He was replaced. And now it was my turn. The radio turned on one last time. No voice. Just breathing. My breathing. And then stay. The door behind me unlocked. For the first time. Freedom. Or at least it looked like it. But the notebook wrote one last line. Rule 5. If the door opens on its own, do not leave. I stood there. Frozen. Door. Open. Darkness. Outside. Something inside. Waiting. And something behind me. Smiling, even though it had no face. I didn't move toward the door, even though every instinct in my body was screaming at me to run, to step outside, to escape whatever had already started inside that station. Something deeper held me in place. Not fear. Not exactly. It was something worse. Understanding. Because by now I was starting to see the pattern. Every rule I broke didn't punish me immediately. It simply made the next step inevitable, like a sequence that had already been written long before I arrived. I slowly turned away from the open door, the desert. Outside was completely dark now. No moon. No stars. Just emptiness. But it wasn't empty. I could feel it watching, waiting for me to make the mistake it wanted. So I stepped back into the station. And as soon as I did, the door slammed shut behind me. Not violently. Not suddenly. Just deliberately, like it had made a decision for me. Didn't try to open it again, because I already knew. The choice had passed. I turned toward the radio desk. The chair was no longer where I left it. It was closer now, facing me, inviting me. I didn't want to sit, but my legs were shaking. My body felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing me down. So I sat. Slowly. Carefully. The moment I did, the radio turned on again. No static. No delay. Just a voice. Good. My voice. Again. But this time, there was something different about it. It sounded calmer, more stable, more confident. You're learning? I clenched my fists, trying to hold on to something real. Something that still belonged to me. Rule 6. Do not engage with any voice that encourages you. I laughed. Quietly. Because at this point, every rule felt useless. The voice continued anyway. You don't have to be afraid. This place isn't killing you. It's keeping you. The lights dimmed slightly, not flickering this time, just lowering, like the station itself was adjusting, becoming something else. I looked at the walls, and for the first time, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. They weren't solid. Not completely. There were shapes inside. Then faint. Distorted. Like silhouettes trapped beneath the surface. And they were moving. Slowly. Turning. reaching, my breath caught in my throat. I grabbed the notebook again, flipping through pages faster now, desperately searching for anything that made sense, and then I found it, an entry, different from the others, older, Messier. The station is not a building. I froze below it, written in uneven lines. It's a receiver. It collects. It records. It replaces. My hands started shaking again, because suddenly everything made sense, the voices, the mimicry, the rules, it wasn't random, it was learning me, recording. And slowly perfecting me, the radio clicked again. Almost done. I looked at the glass window, the thing outside was gone. Or at least, it wasn't where I last saw it, but something was wrong. The reflection in the glass wasn't matching me. I raised my hand, my reflection, DIDN single quotes, T. My heart dropped, slowly, very slowly. The reflection smiled. I didn't. There you are. The voice came from behind me again, but this time it wasn't empty space, there was someone standing there, me, exact, same face, same clothes, same expression, except for the eyes were wrong, too still, too aware, like it wasn't looking at me, but through me. I tried to move. I couldn't, my body felt disconnected, like I was no longer fully inside it. The copy stepped closer. You've been very helpful. It spoke with my voice, but without hesitation, without fear. I needed your patterns, your reactions, your memories. It stopped right in front of me. Now I don't need you to respond anymore. The room felt smaller, tighter, the walls were moving, closing in, and the shapes inside them were clearer now, faces, hundreds of them, all slightly wrong, all slightly incomplete, all watching. This is where you stay. The copy reached toward the chair. And this is where I go. My vision blurred. The last thing I saw was it sitting down, comfortably, naturally, like it had always belonged there. And then everything went silent. Asterisk, when I opened my eyes again, I was still in the station, but something had changed. I couldn't move, not because I was scared, but because I didn't have a body anymore. I was inside the wall. I could see the room, the chair, the radio, and him, myself, sitting there, calm, focused, working, like nothing had ever happened, like I had never existed. The radio crackled. A new voice came through. Hello, is anyone there? I recognized it immediately, another person, another voice, another replacement, and I wanted to scream, too, warn them, to tell them not to answer, but I couldn't, because I understood now the worst part of all of this. The rules were never meant to save anyone. They were meant to slow the process, so the copy could be perfect, so the replacement could be complete, and now I was just another voice in the wall, watching, waiting, for the next person to break the first rule.